Hey, what is going on, guys? Danny here. Welcome back to the channel, and I hope you're all doing well. So, Forza Horizon 6 is finally out. It's a game that I was anticipating for quite some time. I'm a big fan of the series. I love racing games. And, yeah, I mean, I figured it'd be a nice opportunity to go ahead and test some hardware. I figured I'd throw the 9070 XT up on the test bench first. And, well, when I mean out, this game isn't actually out until the 19th. But if you bought the premium edition, you did have access for this game from the 15th. So that's what I did. Figured I want to get a little bit of a head start on some testing. Although some of the other larger channels did get the opportunity to probably get the keys right from the developer. Fortunately, I don't have that luxury, and things have just been really busy outside of YouTube, so I just wasn't able to get some videos out there as early as I wanted. But hey, I figured I'd do some testing with the 9070 XT, and yeah, let's just jump right into it. So what I'll be showing you guys first here is 1440p gameplay. I'll show you guys the settings that I'm running. So here we have 1440p. I do have FSR 4.1 enabled in quality mode. FSR 4.1, DLSS 4.5, DLSS 4.0, and even Intel's latest ZSS 3.0. These are all great upscaling technologies, guys. At this point, I personally can't really find any sort of big difference or noticeable differences between native and a quality or even a balanced preset. Even performance, so we've tested that out in some previous games with DLSS. I haven't done FSR 4.1, but DLSS performance mode at like 4K still looks absolutely great and is completely usable. Gives you a nice performance a boost as well, so I do definitely think it's viable to use. And yeah, so I figured why not, use it with quality upscaling, because when we take a look at the graphics, you guys can see I'm actually running Extreme, which is the highest quality setting on a lot of the options here. And the reason for that, and this kind of contradicts what I've said in the past, is because usually I'm going for a mixture of like medium, high, and a few things set to ultra, and I'm always like, you know what, just go for something that's like a happy medium, and enjoy the game for what it is, focus on the gameplay, the combat, or the story. However, in this case, I'll make an exception for Forza Horizon 6, because Forza Horizon 6's appeal, one of the appeals for it, is its graphics fidelity. That's been a big focus when the game was in development. They showcase all the cars, the environment. Japan looks great, absolutely great. So that's been one of the big selling points of this game, is the beautiful environments. So you definitely want to be able to, get the most out of that, get the most out of the settings, and be able to take advantage of that. So as you guys can see, I'm running Extreme here, and I do actually have ray tracing enabled for now. So we have ray tracing on high. High is the highest setting that you can get for ray tracing for the reflections quality, and then for the lighting and material, ray traced GI quality is also set to high, and then a whole bunch of other stuff is set to Extreme. The only thing I kind of have disabled is motion blur and lens effects set down to high, because I don't really care too much for that. But yeah, let's go ahead and hop into the game. I'll probably disable ray tracing later on so you guys can see what the performance advantage is like, and then we'll hop on to 4K. So I actually did do... Go ahead and reset some of the numbers here so you guys can see as I'm talking. So I did actually run through the built-in benchmark, and the thing with the built-in benchmark is that it's actually not, and you guys can see what I'm talking about, it's not actually reflective of real-world gameplay, because it's a preloaded track, even though it has like multiple cars and there's like NPCs and there's the audience in the background. So you think there's a lot going on, and it would be the most taxing, but it's not actually reflective of real-world gameplay. When you're actually going to be driving out into the open world, as I'm doing now for you guys, this here is what's actually reflective of real-world gameplay. And I'm not sure if this is just an AMD problem, because I've been seeing a lot of comments of people talking about this online where they're experiencing stuttering, and as you guys can see from the frame times, I mean, we're rocking a 9800X 3D that I've overclocked and tuned using PBO, and we've got some tuned RAM. I've tuned down the timings on the RAM to bring down the latency as low as possible, and I've also overclocked the 9070 XT. I've also bumped up the memory as well, but unfortunately, it looks like, yeah, I mean, it's just not stable, like with the frame times. I don't know what it is. In like that benchmark I was talking about, it's completely smooth. I can even show you guys the screenshots. it even states that there were 0 stutters. But here, clearly there's some frame pacing issues ongoing right now. And I mean, the average frame rate isn't bad. You know, we're getting around 120 FPS, and you know, this is with ray tracing enabled, with upscaling. But you know, performance is still phenomenal. And the 1% lows aren't too bad either. It's the 0.1% lows that are problematic here, and it is certainly noticeable with some large hitches. I mean, overall, right now it's fairly smooth, but every now and then you'll get a hitch. I'm not sure if it's like a shader compilation stutter, a traversal stutter, an area loading stutter. Sometimes I have seen, as you guys probably saw with those little signs that were popping up with, like, you know, if you're going into a drift, or you know, if you pass by like a one of those speed cameras or speed monitoring things. I noticed that sometimes when those pop up, a stutter occurs. So I'm not sure if that can be fixed. But I was reading up online, and there were a lot of people complaining that with the 9070 XT, they were experiencing stutters. And then I was watching some other YouTubers who were benchmarking, and they were saying that how on the NVIDIA side, they didn't actually encounter too many stutters. And we'll be testing that out on for ourselves as well. Because I do actually have a 5070 that I recently picked up. Decent mid-range card, right? Something that seems to be pretty popular amongst the among the 5000 series. So I want to test that out, see what that is like, rather than, you know, going for something super high-end that the vast majority of gamers can't even buy. So we'll test that out later on as well when I have some time. But I wanted to do the 9070 XT first because, you know, everyone seems to rave about it on YouTube and online forums. But yeah, Japan looks great, man. I went there last year, and honestly, like, I was driving around the map and I was looking at all the various spots in Tokyo City and you know, Shibuya Crossing, and I was like, oh my god, I was there last year. I was in this exact spot walking around. So I mean, it was really, really cool to see all of that happening. But yeah, I mean, I'm showing you guys some performance here. Now that you guys know what it's like, let's go ahead and actually disable ray tracing and see what the performance is like then. So we'll go into the settings over here. Take a look. We want to go to graphics, and we'll turn on screen space reflections to extreme, and do the same thing for screen space GI quality. Okay, so it looks like ultra is the furthest we can go with that. That's fine. And let's see now. I'll go ahead and reset the numbers for you guys. So yeah, clearly there is a big performance boost. Stuttering's still happening. Yeah, the stuttering, yes, that was a big stutter. Not even dropped our 1% lows by quite a bit. So I'm curious. I'm actually really curious to see how things turn out with when we switch over to an NVIDIA card. I might test this on my 14900K system if I have some time, right? I just really haven't had much time to like post stuff on YouTube, make long-form content. Which, by the way, if you guys are wondering, you know, what might be going on behind the scenes, if you guys want some updates, things are interested in things that pique my interest, I do actually have an Instagram page, and I also have a Twitter. So if you guys want to know, you know, what's going on behind the scenes, feel free to follow me on those pages. I'm always like posting content there. But you know what? I'll show you guys a race as well, so you guys can see what I'm talking about when I mean, like, when you're in a preloaded match, there's hardly any stutters happening. Alright guys, so we are in a race, and I actually had to back out because I realized that my overclock settings in the AMD Adrenalin software weren't actually set properly, so I do apologize for that, but don't think it would make a big drastic difference. Still getting used to the racing mechanics of this game. It's been a while since I played Forza Horizon 5, so probably going to get my ass kicked in this game, in this race, but that doesn't matter. So as you guys can see, performance is way more smoother in an actual race, because like what happens is when you enter in a race, it doesn't just load it up right then and there, like as if there's like no loading time. It does actually take a bit of time to load up the race, not too long. Few seconds. It depends on where you have the game installed. Don't recommend using a hard drive for sure. But yeah, once you're in, it preloads everything, preloads all the other racers and drivatars, and yeah, away you go. So as you guys can see, it's a little bit of stuttering still happening, but it's not nearly as drastic as what it was, or as frequent as what it was when we were driving around in the open world game, or in the open world mode. So yeah, I mean, in actual races, for the most part, it is fine. It is relatively smooth. Still totally playable. Let's go ahead and actually turn back ray tracing on and then see what the performance is like now that we're actually in a race. Okay, we got ray tracing enabled. I'll go ahead and reset the numbers here. Yeah, I mean, we drop into the 120s, which still is totally playable for a racing game like this, right? But yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is something that AMD needs to fix on their drivers. I'm using the latest drivers, which had notes that they were optimized for the game. So, yeah, something that I think AMD has to address, or maybe if it's the developers, they have to do on their end. But I'm curious, right? I'm going to try to test this out on some NVIDIA hardware. I was playing on my OLED rig, which has a 4090. But on that rig, I do play on a more controlled set of options or criteria. Because I have, it's only 120 hertz TV. I just have it locked to 117 FPS to stay within that G-Sync range. But I mean, the 4090 was able to keep a relatively solid frame rate. I didn't really notice any stuttering. And I was actually using it with the 5800 X3D. Keep in mind, the test bench has a 9800 X3D, so quite a bit of a difference in terms of CPU horsepower. But still, the 5800 X3D, still a phenomenal CPU. All right, let's go ahead and quit this event. And we'll go ahead and bump up the resolution to 4K and see what happens. Alright guys, so we are back, and we are playing at 4K. That guy just crashed into me. As you guys can see, we have ray tracing enabled at 4K. Performance is still absolutely stellar and still totally smooth and playable. So right now what I'm doing is just testing out the open world. And yeah, I mean, it seems like the stuttering has kind of subsided a little bit, but I mean, we'll figure this out as we're driving more. But overall, right now, the 1% and 0.1% lows still look stable. Okay, looks like we're dropping down a little bit there. Okay. I don't know what this guy's problem is. He's been chasing me around. He wants to race. But yeah, the 9070 XT with the help of FSR 4.1, and this is in quality mode too. So I mean, if you're someone who's, I mean, at 4K we can totally drop it down to like balanced and get a bit more performance boost. But yeah, I mean, if you're totally tolerant of the lower presets, you can get more performance. But yeah, I mean, the stuttering is still prevalent. It doesn't seem as frequent as it was at lower resolutions. I don't know, because, you know, we're just more GPU bound. But yeah, clearly there's some issues to be worked out over here. So now that you guys have seen performance at 4K in the open world, let's go ahead and take a look at a race and see what performance is like in there. Alright guys, so we are now in a race at 4K with ray tracing enabled, FSR 4.1 in quality mode. And yeah, performance is absolutely stellar right now. Getting about 80 FPS average. And then our 1% low is in the mid-70s, 0.1% lows is relatively good as well. There was a little bit of a hitch there, still some slight hitching, but nothing that's too noticeable or detrimental to your overall gameplay experience. You know what? Now that I'm curious, let's go ahead and turn on frame generation. I just want to see, because we have a really good base frame rate here. So I mean, I feel like with frame generation in this kind of game too, like, man, this isn't like some kind of twitchy first-person shooter, right? I feel like frame generation is still totally acceptable to use in a game like this. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Am I wrong that it doesn't support frame generation? SR 4.1 quality. That's weird. Is it in the graphics? Because I was I did see frame generation when I enabled DLSS, but I mean, obviously there's no DLSS right here. No, this is anti-aliasing. Performance, quality. Okay, I guess Forza Horizon 6 does not support frame generation. Yeah, so I looked it up, and apparently this game doesn't support frame generation on AMD cards, which is really strange. I don't even think Intel supports it right now either, because I wasn't seeing the option. I mean, I'm gonna test this on my MSI Claw as well, which is using Intel Arc iGPU, but yeah, apparently it's not supported. I mean, I could be wrong, could be an idiot, and I just don't see the option somewhere. But I mean, the DLSS option was right then and there when I had it running on my 4090. So, I mean, and not that it even needs it, right? Like, I mean, I'm playing it right now, as you guys can see, at 4K with those, like, the quality is just maxed and totally cranked to the max here. But, like, it would have been nice, but I don't think it really needs it. I mean, you can try turning on the fluid motion frames in the Radeon drivers. That's not really that great, to be honest. I don't recommend it. I kind of recommend it as a last case resort, but, I mean, you don't really need it. I just wish that, yeah, whatever is causing the instability in the 0.1% lows, it can get addressed. It could be, you know, a shader comp stutter with Radeon drivers. Could be something to do with the 9070 XT, some optimization there. Or, I mean, could be the 9800 X3D. I'm curious now when I try this out on my my 14900K. It's kind of a hassle to switch test bench and motherboards and platforms, to be honest. And just a matter of having to find a time too. But we're going to go ahead and switch to a NVIDIA card soon, so stay tuned for that if you want to see more testing. I'm going to do the 5070, and I'll probably do the 4090 as well. Maybe my 3080, I'll try it on that, see how a 6-year-old GPU fares in this game as well. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for this one, you guys. I figured I'd showcase some testing with the 9070 XT on my system, for those of you guys who are curious, to give you guys a performance overview if you have similar hardware or are planning on purchasing this kind of hardware and want to play Forza Horizon 6. That's going to do it for this one. We'll touch base in the next video. Take care.
If you guys found this video to be informative and entertaining, then leave a like. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. Be sure to check out the video description for cool links and ways to support the channel, such as using my Amazon affiliate link. And if you're interested in seeing more content like this, then consider subscribing. I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.